Thomas Hobbes, 1588–1679. I put for the general inclination of all mankind a perpetual and restless desire of power after power that ceased only in death. English philosopher, mathematician, scientist and linguist, his ideas marked the end of medieval thinking and the beginning of modern philosophical and political theory. From an impoverished family, he was brought up in the household of an uncle and sent to school at the age of 4. He attended Oxford University and was then employed as a tutor to the first Earl of Devonshire, an interesting experience as it allowed Hobbes to deepen his study of various disciplines. From 1610 to 1613, he travelled across Europe with his pupil. During the trip, he had the opportunity to study French and Italian. In the early 1620s, he worked as a secretary to Francis Bacon, whose inductive method highly influenced him. In 1629, he again travelled to Europe and developed a deep interest in geometry, whose logical exactitude can be recognized in the way he will later express his political ideas. On his third visit to Europe, he met with the Italian mathematician and physicist Galileo. Back to England on the eve of civil war, his interest shifted to politics, and his involvement in the turmoil which preceded the Civil War forced him to move to France, where he remained until 1651. It is in 1650 that his The Elements of the Law, Natural and Politic was published. Hobbes defended absolutism, but based on his justification on consent rather than on divine right. As you can imagine, he displeased both royalists and parliamentarians. When in France, he also wrote De Cive in favor of absolute sovereignty, claiming that political power should arbitrate also in religious questions. His most famous work was published in 1651 and created great controversy even among his friends. His treatise, titled Leviathan, was consistent with his previous works, as it argued that absolute rule was necessary to guarantee civil peace, but that the sovereign's power was based on consent. Hey, guess what? It irritated both Catholics and Presbyterians, as Hobbes insisted that religion should be kept under the control of civil authority. So, when the philosopher returned to England, he was accused of being an atheist. However, when King Charles II was restored to the throne, he extended to Hobbes the protection of the crown and granted him a form of pension. In exchange, Hobbes kept a low profile and avoided writing on sensitive political issues. He died in 1679. Oxford University banned and burned both Leviathan and De Cive. The Catholic Church placed De Cive on the Index Librorum Prohibitorum in 1654. In 1733, all of Hobbes' works were prohibited by the Church. According to Hobbes, in the state of nature, a man is totally free and everyone has an equal right to everything. In the absence of a controlling power, men would naturally struggle because of their different needs. To avoid a state of permanent war, and because we fear death, we would surrender our right to claim everything, and submitting to a sovereign who would prevent the bellum omnium contra omnes. In order to live and prosper, we understand that it is convenient to sign a social contract and submit it to a sovereign whose power is absolute. Such is the nature of men, that howsoever they may acknowledge many others to be more witty, or more eloquent, or more learned, yet they will hardly believe there be many so wise as themselves. I hope you found this short video useful. Further links in the description section.